Good afternoon and good evening from India. This is Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari, the founder director of Global Academy of Law, Tech, Education and Research from India. It is my privilege to share some of my thoughts and views on the startup ecosystem in India and investment opportunities on the platform of Expo, Future Expo. And I must thank Mr. Atanas Neshe. Please pardon me if the pronunciation is not exact. Uh, and I must also thank my friend Maha Al Sadi, who introduced me to Mr. Atanas. And today I would be sharing my thoughts on how the startup ecosystem in India is progressing and how this startup culture has grown very strongly and is contributing in the growth of Indian economy. Uh, I will share my views within the assigned time frame, and quickly I will first tell my audience and viewers that what do we mean by startup in India or across the world. Startup means in India any private entity which is not more than 10 years old and which has an annual turnover of less than 215 million INR, Indian rupee, in terms of India. So this is this specific qualification to be categorized as startup. Now in India, I'm happy to share that the startup ecosystem in India is the third largest after US and China. We are close to 70,000 startups functioning in India. So it indicates that over the past 10 years or a decade, the startup business entities are playing vital role in the national economy. Now, I'm specifically talking about India, as you know. In India, as of now, there are close to 110 unicorns. You know, the term unicorn was coined by Eileen Lee in the year 2013 for those startups. Basically, unicorn is an animal with a single horn. It's a unique animal. So, unicorn status is given to those startups who have value over 1 billion US dollar. So, in India today, we have close to 110 unicorns. That indicates that in last 2 to 3 years, the global capitalist, venture capitalist, banks, financial institutions, Indian banks, investors, they have shown great faith in these startups and they are growing by leaps and bounds. Now, this indicates that these startups, they are representing various sectors of the economy. They are into the technology, innovation, they are into the agri-tech, they are also into the education, in the supply chain, delivery, food technology, and many other areas. If I can share with you a few statistics, these startups are contributing in 56 diverse industrial sectors in India. 13% of them are in the IT sector, that is information technology and science sector. 9% are in the healthcare, 7% are into the education, 5% are into the profession like the advocacy or other professions. Service sector now contributes large volume in terms of the tax collection and in terms of the economy. So in service sector, there are 5% startups which are contributing, and food and beverage, uh, there are 5%. So taking into consideration the various sectors of the economy, of the national economy, the startups are having a significant impact. They are drivers of the national economic prosperity. I can share with you few names which are globally known also, and which have become unicorns and which have made tremendous financial and economic progress. To name a few, like Paytm. Paytm is into the digital payment. You know, India is number one digital payment country. Post COVID, our government, our finance ministry, the Reserve Bank of India, they created a very strong, safe, and secure uh, payment gateways where the digital mode of receiving and sending money have been developed, and Paytm is one of them. Then we have Flipkart, e-commerce company like Amazon is a global company. In India, the Flipkart is also a startup which has grown tremendously. Ola, Ola and Uber. Uber is a US based company, but Ola is a mobility into the mobility sector, and carrying people from places to places is playing a vital role in mobility sector. Byju's is a today now leading educational online educational platform. Razor Pay, again online payment gateway. Zomato. Zomato is a food delivery uh, system, and Nykaa is a global fashion technology and fashion industry, and Giroda. Giroda is a security market based company. There are many such unicorns and startups. I have just shared with you few important names which are contributing significantly. Now, coming to the regulatory system, in India, the startup could be a firm, proprietorship firm, a partnership firm. It could be a limited liability partnership company, limited liability partnership. It could be a company, private company, one person company. We have a new IP, a new company law 2013. So just a minute, sorry for interruption. So we have companies, private companies, limited liability partnership companies, and they are governed by Companies Act or Partnership Act, which are the basic legislations. The procedures have been made simple for their registration and their operation. The various governmental and non-governmental agencies which are promoting the startup culture in India, to name a few. The basic is the Ministry of Finance in the Government of India, Ministry of Industries, MSME, medium, small, and micro enterprises. MSME is a dedicated platform of the Ministry of Industry, which is promoting startup in so many ways. Then we have DPIIT, Department of Industry, a dedicated platform again. Then we have a Digital India movement launched by the present government. where we are encouraging the digital transactions, digital innovations. And because of this rigorous marketing and rigorous innovative tools, as I just mentioned, India has become number one in digital payment segment. And on private side, we have CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, NESCOM, FICCI. These are industrial bodies, apex industrial bodies in India, where they are training, they are providing guidance, mentorship, and many other advisory role for these startups. And they are doing great work. Uh, the city Hyderabad, from where I belong and from where I'm speaking with you, has got world's biggest innovation center, T Hub, that is known as Telangana Hub. The T Hub is a house for 500 startups, and they are very dedicated mentors who are mentoring and empowering the startups. Similarly, some international players like Goldman Sachs, they are empowering 1,000 women entrepreneurs in training in business, management, education, and helping the women entrepreneurs to run their startups. Similarly, the Microsoft Venture Accelerator program in India has also picked up more than 25 startups, and they are helping them in getting funding and in empowering them for successful running of the startup. So overall, if we look into the scenario, we find that in India the startup culture is progressing, and there are tremendous opportunities. The venture capitalist, the banking sector, the private lenders, and other institutional investors from India and abroad are taking keen interest in Indian startup industry. The reason, according to me, is that India offers a very conducive environment, a conducive, peaceful, reliable environment. We have seen how the other countries, I don't want to name, have uh, played some unwanted or undesirable role in terms of during COVID era. And that made India as the first choicest destination for industries, whether they are big industries or they are small industries or they are startups or they are business firms. Now in India, Apple, the world famous iPhone, has opened a great setup. Similarly, the automobile makers, they are big companies, they are not startups. But what I want to emphasize is that India has become a very much sought, hot destination for investing, not by Indians, but across the world. And we are inviting foreign investment in large volume. So for a startup also, I think the foreign investors are looking toward India and investing in very promising startups in India. Having said that, I would also like to say that as on September 2022 report, uh, 34.1 billion US dollar investment in unicorns alone have come from abroad. And the total contribution of startup in Indian economy in terms of monetary contribution is more than uh, 500 billion. It is close to a big amount. And year on year growth, if we look year on year growth from 2016-70 to 2020-21, we have 82.8% higher growth from what we had in 2021. Now we are in 2021-2022, the there is a phenomenal growth in the startup ecosystem. Having said that, let me also focus on some of the important and critical issues which we have to take into consideration. There are many startups which are opened, but during initial infancy period of 3 to 4 years or 5 years, some of them face tremendous constraints and they are unable to run their enterprise successfully. The reasons are there is a lack of mentorship, there is a lack of commitment, higher cost on infrastructure, non-compliance of regulatory uh, requirements, although the regulatory requirements for a startup have been simplified, but still that is a matter of concern. Then the lack of entrepreneurial zeal. People startup, they launch a startup, but gradually they lose interest or they are unable to generate funds and they are unable to manage them successfully and gradually they withdraw. These are some concerns. These are some issues which we must also take into consideration. And in my one of the slide, uh, which is a graphic presentation, I have raised those issues, yes. That what are the major issues which availability of capital, risk tolerance, because risk in any entrepreneur, any business, risk is inherent. And the investor and the stakeholders and the promoters should be ready to take that risk. Uh, Successes are not quite fast. We need to have patience. It takes time. A one wrong decision can take a enterprise reverse. So we have to wait for success, because success is a booster for any venture, any human venture. Technical skills, yes. Although Indian technical and innovative skills are recognized world over, and many startups have contributed a lot in innovative uh, setup, in innovation, but because the technology is changing so fast, we at Galter Global Academy are working on technology, emerging and advanced technologies. Technologies are moving so fast that the workforce must be properly trained and updation is necessary. Today there is AI. They are AI based solution. They are blockchain based solutions. There is a metaverse which offers tremendous opportunities. So all these upgradation of skill is another important. Entrepreneurial culture. Everybody cannot run the business. If you ask me, honestly speaking, I am professor of law, and all my 45 years I have devoted my life for the education and research. Perhaps if I run a startup, I may or may not be that successful, because entrepreneurial skills are very important to run and manage a enterprise. Mentors, as I said, we need experienced mentors. The T Hub in Hyderabad, in Telangana, is doing that job. The CII, the NASCOM, they are doing the job of mentoring. The Goldman Sachs, they are doing the job of mentoring. Regulatory, as I said, that we have to still simplify the regulatory glitches and collaborative culture. We should be open for collaboration. Collaboration is also an art and skill. How to work successfully in a team, that is also important. So these factors which I have mentioned, because there is a limited time at my disposal, so I have shared these factors which are necessary for success of any startup ecosystem. But to conclude, I would say if there is more time, I can share more ideas. But to conclude, I would like to say that Indian startup ecosystem is highly promising, reliable, and is a engine for growth of Indian economy and also contributing in overall global economic scenario. So I invite the foreign investors from across the world that they should visit our websites, Export Promotion Council, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Industry, MSME. All these websites are available, and they should contact some leading startups, which I have already mentioned, and there are many more, and explore the possibility of investing in Indian startup industry. And I'm sure that they will never be disappointed. They will get good returns in comparison to other startups of the other countries. Therefore, uh, I'm pretty sure that Indian startup system has a great potential and a great future, and we look forward to investors for making it more stronger. So, with these words, I thanks once again Mr. Etnas for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. There are many more things to be shared, but as time constraint is always there, and I look forward to your responses or comments. Thank you, Etnas. Thank you very much.